Hello, I'm Jackie, and today I will do a presentation for you to talk about my research topic, the association between celebrity suicide and the copycat effect. Now, let's go through the content of my presentation today. I have divided my presentation into four parts. Firstly, I would like to talk about the motivation of my research, and then the general background will be provided to help you get a deeper insight of my research field. Next, we come to my research questions, and here, the aim of my research will be indicated as well. Lastly, the conclusion of my presentation will be demonstrated. Now, let's move to the motivation. Personally, I believe that the celebrity behavior have a great impact on the general population. It was because I am the one who has greatly impacting by the celebrity. That is my school life when I was undergraduate. I was learning the water management when I was an undergraduate, and honestly, I didn't like the water management and I wanted to learn the communication and to be the journalist, rather than spending my whole day in the lab to do the plant identification and the bacterial identification. However, due to many fears, I didn't change my major during my undergraduate period. And luckily, 2 years ago, I have watched a video about a singer, a celebrity. I was greatly inspired from the singer because he encouraged people to be themselves and to pursue what they really love. And now I'm at UQ and learning communication. As figure 3 shows, that is what I'm doing as a communication student. And since then, I believe that celebrities have a specific social value and start to think could celebrity generate some other negative impact on the general population? And the result is absolutely yes, they do generate some negative impact on us. And I read some articles and then I found out the copycat effect, which is one of the negative impact of the celebrity. And that is the motivation of my research. And after knowing my motivation, let's talk about my research. Now I will give you some general background about my topic. Many studies has already suggested an association between celebrity suicide and the subsequent increase in suicide, and this phenomenon called copycat effect. And now I would like to give you an example of the suicide story of Yin-ju, who is the famous Korean actress, and she killed herself by hanging. And as the figure shows there, that is the day of her death, and I also highlighted the blue light. Data of hanging 1 week before her death and 1 week after her death, which increased by 16. And also, other suicide method has been highlighted as well, which only increased by 25. And this great increase of hanging has confirmed the association between celebrity suicide and the copycat effect. After examining the copycat effect, some scholars have a further study of the copycat victims. They have identified the characteristics of the copycat subgroup. However, there are considerable debates about the characteristics of the suicidal individual, especially the gender subgroup. Some articles have shown that there is no relationship between copycat suicide and the specific gender group, while other articles have claimed that the female group is easier to be impacted by the celebrity suicide. But some other scholars have found out that the same gender group as the deceased celebrated is the vulnerable subgroup. Therefore, the association between copycat suicide and gender subgroup is still remain unknown. Furthermore, although some articles have already examined the association between the celebrity suicide and the gender group, few articles interpreted that the causality between the gender group and the copycat suicide. Okay, now, based on the general background, I have formulating my research question. Question 1. Which gender subgroup is more vulnerable to be the victim of copycat effect? Question 2. What is the correlation between the gender group and the copycat suicide? Thereby, the aim of my research is to reveal the association between celebrity suicide, copycat effect, and the gender subgroup. Now, we come to the last part of my presentation today, the conclusion. The previous articles support the same assertion that there is a strong link between celebrity suicide and the subsequent suicide cases, which called copycat effect. Then, some scholar has further examined the association between the gender subgroup and the copycat effect size. However, there are mainly three inconsistent findings here. Thereby, a further study is needed to identify the association between gender group and the copycat effect. What's more, I also found out that the causality between the celebrity suicide and the copycat effect is still remain unknown, which means it's still not fully clear that whether the celebrity suicide is the real motivation to trigger the copycat behavior. So, based on those limitations of the previous articles, my research questions have been listed out here. Firstly, to find out which gender group is more vulnerable to be the victims of the copycat effect, and then to identify the causal relationship between the gender group and the copycat effect. And here is the references list of my presentation today. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.